Okay, guys, you have officially finished your lab. You've cleaned everything up. You've put your organisms away. Now it is time to work on your scientific explanation organizer. So if you go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of your lab, you will see the organizer. And I've constructed a few videos to help you get through the organizer so that you can absolutely ace the scientific explanation, which is a summative assessment. All right, so we are going to start with the question. This part's super easy. All you have to do is come on up to the top of your screen where you wrote your testable question. You're going to copy your question and then you will paste it in the question section. So there's my question. Do sow bugs have chemical sensory receptors so they can smell food? Go ahead and pause this video right now so that you can get your question written. All right, next up, we are going to do evidence. So evidence is where you're going to put any qualitative or quantitative data that actually answers your question. So I'm not just going to copy and paste all my numbers down here, and I'm not just going to copy and paste all of my observations. I'm actually going to analyze my data. I'm going to see what in here actually is going to help answer this question. Do sow bugs have chemical sensory receptors so that they can smell food? So looking through my data and reading my qualitative as well as quantitative, here's the first thing I notice. That in the experimental test, the sow bug finished the 96 centimeter maze and crawled on the apple. So when I look here, they finished 96 centimeters, which is the end, and it crawled on top of the apple. That's really important because that tells me it could smell the apple, or at least that seems like it's evidence that can tell me that. All right. Next thing I notice is that the sow bug traveled 21 centimeters further in the experimental test than in the controlled test toward the end where the food was. So I just kind of did my math here, found the difference was 21 centimeters. So it traveled 21 centimeters further in the experimental than it did in the controlled. All right, the next piece of evidence that I noticed is that throughout both the tests, the sow bug was twitching its antennas. So when I look back up here in my qualitative data, every single trial, it was twitching its antenna. So that seems like evidence to me that it was sensing something, which is why I put it in my evidence. Okay, next, I have that the sow bug makes more wrong turns in the maze without the food. So again, I just went up into my qualitative data, and as I was reading, that was something that I noticed. Here it made one wrong turn, here it made three wrong turns, but when I looked at my experimental, it only made one wrong turn overall. So that is why I put in my evidence. And last but not least, I noticed that the sow bug only crawled out of the maze without the food. This just seems really important to me because it stayed in the maze when the food was there at the end, but it did not stay in the maze without the food. So I noticed that right here that it crawls completely out, which is why I added it to my evidence. Okay, so this video is going to end. I want you to take a few minutes and analyze your data. Write down anything here that you think answers this question or is going to be evidence that you have an answer to this question.